In the last 24 hours, Amazon have announced that they're going to be reducing royalty rates on their Amazon KDP book sales. This basically means that from June the 10th onwards, some KDP books are going to get a lot less royalties than they would previously per sale. And naturally, a lot of people are panicking, saying this is the end of Amazon KDP. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what's going on to put you at ease, explain why this is actually probably a good thing for Amazon KDP. Finally, at the end of this video, I'll explain exactly what I recommend you do off the back of these changes. So here is the announcement that I am talking about now. Most people watching this video should have had this email already, but if you haven't, don't worry, I'm sure it will be coming very, very soon. But the email just says, hello, for the first time since starting print operations almost 2 decades ago, starting June the 10th, 2025, so this is a really important date, all the changes I'm talking about in this video will take effect from June the 10th onwards. So nothing has happened immediate at the time of recording now. Nothing has actually changed, and this will all take place from June the 10th going forward. We are changing the royalty rate for books priced below a certain list price, e.g. less than $9.99, from 60% to 50%. So the royalty rate at the moment of KDP, as it's ever been, has been 60%. So you'll sell a book for a certain price, you'll then get a 60% cut of that book, minus the printing cost and all of those things. The big change that's happening here is that percentage cut is going from 60 down to 50, which is a fairly significant change. It's 10%, but crucially, it's only on a certain number of books under a certain list price. As you can see, they also say here, we're emailing you because you have one or more print books affected by the following changes. So I'm assuming if you don't have any books priced below the certain price threshold that I'm going to mention in just a second, you won't have received this email. So if you haven't received it, then that is probably why. If you have books under this threshold and you still haven't received it, I'm sure it will come very soon. And in terms of the specifics of the changes, as you can see, on June the 10th, 2025, we'll reduce the royalty rate for print books from 60% to 50% for books priced below $9.99 USD, 9.99 euros, £7.99 GBP, 13.99 Canadian dollars, and so on and so forth. Books with list prices at or above the amounts listed will continue to earn a royalty rate. So the only kind of royalty reductions you're seeing are in books valued at this amount, books valued at less than these amounts that you can see. And so a lot of people who have books priced higher than this won't be impacted at all anyway. But for those of you who have a lot of books listed at this, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm going to suggest what you can do as well to make sure you're limiting the damages from this change. But for those of you who do have a lot of books listed at this kind of price here, there is some positivity in this email too, which I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about. And that is this second section here where it says printing costs for paperback books. Now, when it comes to determining how much money you're making from your KDP book sale, it's dictated mainly by 2 variables. And the 2 variables at play are the royalty rate and also the printing cost of your book. So as we know, the royalty rates are decreasing, which ultimately will lower your profit margins. But it's also saying here that they are reducing printing costs for a certain number of books. So if the printing cost also goes down, this means your profit margin should technically stay pretty similar, even though you're losing a reduction in the royalty rate, because the fact that books are being printed for cheaper means that we get more of that saving back to us. So again, this is not confirmed by Amazon in any way. It will be interesting to see what actually happens on June the 10th. I'm just literally inferring what I can see from this email. But essentially, all regular and large trim paperbacks printed in standard color and purchased from Amazon.com will have a reduction in printing costs. So if your books are in black and white or anything like that, this actually doesn't apply to them. This only applies to large trim books in a standard color. So if you have loaded books on Amazon KDP that are printed in standard color, your printing costs are actually going to go down, which means these books probably aren't going to be affected so much. And the same here with all regular and large trim size paperbacks printed in premium color and purchased from these Amazon stores. So yes, it only is a certain type of book on Amazon that's seeing a reduction in printing costs. But if you're someone that has these books kind of published on your KDP account, this is actually good news for you. But of course, this part here is the main thing we're going to be talking about in this video. It's the main thing most people are talking about. And now I'm going to go on to why this reduction in royalty rate is actually probably a good thing. List 3 reasons why this is the case and show you exactly what you need to do now that these changes are coming into place. And the first of the 3 reasons why this is probably a good thing is that Amazon KDP now favor higher quality books, because if you're making high quality books on Amazon KDP, you probably have them priced above this threshold anyway, above £9.99 USD, above £7.99 GBP, and above 13.99 Canadian dollars. If you have high quality books, I doubt these are going to be impacted anyway, because the higher quality your book, the more you can justify a higher price. And ultimately, because how Amazon KDP has changed in recent years, higher priced, high quality books are the way forward anyway. I cover this in significant detail in another recent video that I made. I will leave that linked on screen so you can go ahead and watch that after you've watched this video. But essentially now with more competition in Amazon KDP, you need to stand out with a significantly higher quality product. That's the really obvious point. But also with this increase in competition, Amazon ads have become more important than ever, and you really need to be using Amazon ads if you're going to make this business a success. And for anyone that's used Amazon ads, you'll know it's significantly easier to make Amazon ads profitable if you have a higher price book, because you just have so much more margin to play for in terms of your advertising spend. So this change should hopefully force you to start focusing more on quality rather than quantity. So yes, if you have loads of books that are going to be affected by this, you might think this is a really bad thing short term because you're reducing your royalties, but ultimately this should be the push that you need to start creating higher quality books, because trust me, fewer higher quality books will significantly make you more money than loads of lower quality books. And the second impact that this change in royalties makes means that listing optimization is now crucial, because ultimately, if you're going to charge a higher price for your book listing needs to reflect that higher price. The whole thing needs to just be significantly higher quality. So not only does the book itself need to be a higher quality, but the book listing also needs to have professional A+ content, a good and high converting book description, and social solid proof, or a good number of reviews, because ultimately these three things here will improve the quality of your book listing. Because if you're charging a higher price, you need to offer a higher quality, not just in the book, but in the book listing as well. So I would imagine that the days of just uploading a book with no Amazon A+ content and extra information about the book are now gone. You simply need to have this to justify a higher price for your book. And ultimately, again, I think this is a good thing because it just forces all of the quality on Amazon KDP to improve. A good book description ultimately converts browsers to buyers, and also solid social proof reviews are now even more important than they've ever been, because they increase the conversion rate of your book, i.e. if you have more reviews on your book, a greater portion of people who land on your book listing are going to go ahead and buy it because they trust your book based on the reviews. And I also recently released a video showing you how to build this social proof on your books through using a review site called Book Bounty. So I'll leave that linked on screen now if you want to go ahead and check that out after watching this video. Now, this diagram should hopefully help you understand why listing and conversion rate optimization is so important, and it's going to be continually important going forward in KDP. Now, this slide is actually taken from my Publish for Profit Mastery course, where I have an entire module dedicated to conversion rate and listing optimization. So if you want to check that out, I will also leave that link down below in the description. But essentially, this slide talks you through the entire Amazon KDP customer journey, and so many people are overlooking this. This is basically how it works in real time. A customer will look for a certain product, they'll then see your book, they'll then decide to click onto your book, and then ideally, they will then go ahead and buy your book. But with Amazon KDP, anything from keyword research to niche research to creating your book cover, creating the book interior, all of these things that are incredibly time consuming and take up so much part of your Amazon KDP business literally only get you to this point. They get you to the point where someone clicks onto your books. Ads especially. So many people think that ads generate sales. Ads in KDP do not generate sales. Ads simply get people to click onto your book. It's your book listing that then converts those people into buying customers. And this is why listing optimization is so important, and why I have a whole dedicated module to this in my Publish for Profit Mastery course. Because ultimately, if someone lands on your book, it doesn't matter how good your niche is, how good your keywords are, how good your ads are. If your book listing looks really unprofessional and really poor quality, someone is going to go ahead and buy something else. So this change in royalties ultimately forces people to charge more for their books. But if they're going to charge more for their books, they need to have an optimized book listing, and which is why this is point number 2 of this video. And the third and final reason why I think this is a good change for Amazon KDP is it will increase the perceived value of your books. Now, I'm going to assume off the back of this, people are going to increase the price of their KDP books. And a lot of people on Amazon KDP think that a higher price point just puts off potential buyers. But honestly, that could not be further from the truth. People have something called perceived value in life. People perceive cheaper books to be lower quality, and therefore by increasing your price, you are increasing your perceived value. If you have 2 books at 2 different prices and they're exactly the same book, one is maybe £5.99 and one is £8.99, naturally human psychology is going to think, okay, well, this one for £5.99, even though it looks very similar to this one, it's probably cheaper for a reason. And I don't want to spend cheap and spend twice. I'd rather spend a little bit more and get the higher quality product. So increasing your price point really shouldn't be a thing you're worried about doing, because often it increases the perceived value of your books. Now, of course, the quality of your book has to justify the price of it. If you're just increasing a really low quality book to something like £9.99 when it was like £5.99, then yeah, you probably aren't going to make sales, because ultimately, if your quality of your book isn't there, it really doesn't matter what price your book is, it's just not going to be good for you. But as long as the quality of your book is good, especially compared to the competition, do not be afraid to increase the price of it, because you'll be surprised just how much more money that makes you. And I also have a video dedicated purely to pricing strategies in that same Publish for Profit Mastery course that I mentioned a second ago, and this is the example I use in that course. As you can see here, two extremely similar books: Cozy Girl Self-Love Coloring Book, Cozy Love Bold and Easy Coloring Book. Very, very similar styles of cover. One is priced at £5.39 and one is priced at £7.49. So most people doing Amazon KDP will think the cheaper my book, the more sales it will make. But the problem with this, as you can see here, this book is cheaper than this one. It's actually over £2 cheaper, which is quite a lot. It's ranked 50,000 in books, whereas this one is ranked 8,979. So this book is outselling this one quite significantly, even though it's priced over £2 more. So there is absolutely no correlation between having a cheaper price of your book and that book making more sales. I would actually argue, as long as the quality of the book is good, it actually works the other way. So as you can see here, this is how kind of a customer might look at this. This book here is £5.39. It's obviously got a significantly lower quality cover than this one. This one is obviously priced higher. This one has reviews, this one doesn't. So when it comes to building reviews and social proof, you literally don't need 50, 100 reviews in your book. This book literally only has 2 reviews, but because they're both 5-star, the book is a good quality book. People are thinking, okay, well, this one doesn't have any reviews. It's probably cheaper for a reason. The front cover isn't so good. And although this one here is £2 more expensive, it has that social proof, it has a good cover. I'm just going to go ahead and buy this one. So in short, a customer's purchasing decision on something like a book, which are relatively cheap anyway, is very rarely driven by the price. Because if it was, this one would infinitely outsell this book. It's not driven by price. It's mainly driven by the quality of the book, the social proof it's got, and the optimization of the listing. And this is a perfect example of this. So in short, do not be afraid to increase the prices of your book. As long as the quality is good, often the increase in price will often give an increased perceived value to your potential customers. Now, before I finish this video, here's exactly what I suggest you do based off the changes that are coming and also the things that I've mentioned in this video. Again, this is just my opinion. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I recommend that you do. Ultimately, you can do whatever you want, but here's just some advice from me. Until June the 10th, I would keep your books exactly as they are and track how many sales they're making. And the reason this is so important, because once it hits the 10th of June, I would increase the book's price to the threshold stated. Obviously, as long as the book isn't rubbish, as long as the quality is there to justify this higher price, and see what impact this makes on sales. And the reason why I want to keep these exactly as they are until June the 10th, because this allows me to see exactly what impact this change in price has made. If between now and June the 10th, I'm averaging 5 sales a day for a certain book, but then I go ahead and increase the book price to, maybe £2 or £3 more, and it massively impacts how many sales I'm making, then I can see that actually increasing this price hasn't had a positive impact. But ultimately, if it gets to June the 10th, I increase the price, but sales from then on in seem to stay pretty much the same or only maybe slightly drop off. This therefore means that I can compare the 2 dates, the 2 data sets, and understand, okay, well, although I'm making maybe slightly less sales with a higher price, it's offset by the amount of royalties that I'm making here. So it's really important you have 2 data sets to compare against, which is why I would say keep things exactly as they are until June the 10th. Then you have loaded data of exactly how these books are performing. And then once you increase the price, you can see what impact that increase in price has on how many book sales you're making. And then ultimately, based on these, balance them out and make a decision on what the best price is for your book. So that's the advice I would have for the books that you currently have. So what about the books that you're going to make going on into the future? Now, I would say this is your last call to focus now on quality over quantity. Stop aiming for 5 or 6 books produced per month that are not that great quality. I would say aim for 1, 2 max high quality books per month, rather than just making as many books as you can, and really aim to squeeze as much as you possibly can out of these books that you have. Trust me, fewer high quality books will make you so much more money than a lot more lower quality books. And this idea of quality over quantity is a really big part of my 0 to 10K per month Amazon KDP blueprint video, which I made recently. So if you want to watch that, I will also leave that linked on screen here.